Do you wear gloves when it's raining like this?
No. Fortunately, I have very large hands too, so doesn't make too big of a deal.
So not a problem. You've never experienced any kind of issue like that?
My expertise at, center and all 5 games that I have under my belt. But no, it's never been an issue. I just take them off. Person, tape up the fingers, it'd be fine.
How's the rotation going with you and Cade, and what are you kind of learning about each other? I mean, obviously you've been together for 3 years, but what are you guys learning about each other having to do this kind of a second time around?
Oh, I think it's been really good. We have a very good relationship, and we understand it's for the betterment of the team, and we understand ultimately it's going to help us personally of being able to rotate in with multiple different groups with the defense as well, and so we're able to see a lot of different looks, different body types, different personnel when we're out there, and so we know that we're getting a lot of looks, and we just got to take advantage of that and build that communication with Bryce and Andy, and so it's been a really good camp so far.
I know you brought up the lack of in-game experience at center, but obviously everybody knows you did stuff in the preseason and practice and stuff like that. Where does snapping fall in line of things that are maybe the most complicated part of center?
Least, it's just kind of what you do. Don't really think about it. It's get it back there, whether it's in the gun or under center. It's kind of your body just does it. You really don't think about it. Like, there's a lot more other things going on to where if you're worried about that part of it and getting that snap, the 360-pound individual in front of you is going to make life a lot harder. So, the snap part of it is pretty easy.
Austin, how are the field conditions today, and any concerns about that with more weather tomorrow and the Browns coming?
Oh, no, it's actually very impressive of how well the field's handled all the water that we got with all this rain. Wasn't puddling up or anything. Grip was fine. We'll see how long it keeps raining today, and just telling some of my Cleveland buddies, just pack your umbrella.
How many connections do you still have from Cleveland? I mean, is it still kind of an exciting thing to face?
I want to say from my time there, at Miles, Njoku, Joel, Wyatt, there might be one or two other players-wise that, and then staff-wise, coaches, I don't think any. Maybe some equipment, maybe some athletic trainers, but kind of just you never really know in this league who sticks around, who's moving around, and so it'd be excited to see a bunch of those guys, and a team that drafted me. It's fun, and so excited.
Dave said something earlier about the joint practice. He said he wanted leaders of both teams to kind of get together, go over the rules of engagement. What do you look for in those practices, and what kind of points do guys try to stress to each other?
Ultimately, just being smart. We're here to get work against another opponent. We're going to see completely different schemes on the defensive side of the ball. And so just to get that good, clean work and not make it such a personal attack on each other. I think these practices have that ability to kind of get out of hand like that, where it's just ego versus ego and who's the bigger man and who can step up, and we're not playing football at that point. And so trying to keep it about the ball, just make it clean, crisp, and ultimately the game's on Friday, and that's what we're trying to get to.
Have you watched any of Mason Graham at all?
No, I have not. It's got no film in the preseason so far, so it's right. So no.
They deciding to play starters in the preseason game where last year he didn't in the first couple.
His adjustment on the fly, right? You go from the first year learning from that to, okay, how can we kind of improve to be able to hit the ground running earlier in the season? And I think that's his mentality right now of like, hey, we need to lock in to find our processes. How are we going to get ready? What's your process going to be? How are you going to handle an in-game situation? And that way when week 1 rolls around in Jacksonville, we're ready to go.
And how would you compare the intensity and the competition between offense and defense this training camp to previous seasons you've been here?
Yeah, it definitely feels like we're definitely getting after it pretty good this year. I don't know if that's the no fans being out there, so the kind of mood is definitely more intense, right? It's more about the ball, and you don't get those big reactions out of the fans with plays, kind of lighten the mood and have fun there. Or it's just, I think it's a combination of that and really just kind of the Offensive line obviously staying the same, right? But the guys that we brought in on the D line just raising that standard, and so it's just been back and forth this entire camp, and just continually raising that standard and that level of competition, and it's been awesome.
Austin, there was improvement on the offensive line last year. Brought in some guys. Have you guys talked about any type of goals as a unit that you guys want to accomplish this year?
No, I mean nothing particular goals wise. Is just we understand kind of how the year ended and that momentum that we gained, but ultimately that doesn't mean anything for this year, right? We got to be able to come out and just foot to the floorboard, hit the gas, and go. And we can't wait. We got to hit the jump, and we got to be the backbone of this team, and we understand that. And whatever five's in there, it doesn't matter. There can't be any sort of drop. We got to elevate this team, and that's the responsibility that we accept, that we want, and we look forward to.
Austin, so many players get so excited when it comes to joint practices. From a player's perspective, I see the smile on your face. Describe the value of a joint practice and how fun it is.
It's awesome, especially kind of the longer you're in this league, right? You're able to see a lot of your just buddies from just rotating around different places, and it's fun. It's a team that drafted me coming back in. It's really cool. But there's that fine line of I get to go see a new opponent, a different play style, a different scheme. Okay, how can I take advantage of that and get my work in? To how do we make sure we don't cross that line where it just turns into just a brawl, a bloodbath, and nonsense that doesn't actually make us better at football. And so it just takes that veteran leadership like Dave's been talking about to make sure that we control that, to make sure that we are just here to play football. We're here to get better, to challenge each other, to raise that competition level, and enjoy it without crossing that line.
Awesome. Following up on what David asked you, the change in playing the starters in the preseason, I'm just curious, is that something that, did Dave get any input from you guys? Like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And, after last year's kind of slow start?
Not on my end that I have heard anything or from any other player. I think it's just him growing into his role as second-year head coach and just kind of setting the standard for this team, and just being open and honest and clear in his communication, where it's like, I've been on part of teams where you kind of walk in on that first preseason game like, all right, am I playing? Am I not playing? And so just being straight up front. So, again, it's that game preparation week of just how do you set your routine for a week? How do you go about your mentals to get ready to play a game? How do you get dressed? How do you warm up? Do everything. And so making sure we're getting a couple looks at that, playing those couple preseason games, and, getting one at home, one on the road. So, developing those routines, and that's exactly what he's about, because he tells us, he's like, when we come to Jacksonville week 1, we are going. And so just doing everything we can to make sure that that's what we're doing.
Expectation it'll be just a series or two for the starters.
Yeah, I think you'll play it just kind of like Buffalo last year, right? Kind of see how the series goes from there. If it's positive, good. And if you need a little more work, you get a little more work. Appreciate y'all.